Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. Right here you can see Miss Nikki D. Dank Gates. How are you doing, Nikki?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Pretty well. And over here beside me is Mr. Eric Llewellyn. And over in the wings, John Cronetz, ready to play some music. Welcome back,
Yes,
John.
sir. Hey, thank you for
Glad to see you're recuperating from that fall. We are taking your phone calls, and we have video, and we'll be back in just a few moments. So stand by as we bring on our infamous dancing cannabis leaves.
I feel the force.
Our first story tonight is from the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. A powerful congressional panel voted yesterday to continue shielding medical marijuana patients and providers who comply with state laws from prosecution by the federal government. While the provision has been federal law since 2014, when it was first attached to legislation that funds the U.S. Department of Justice, its continuance has been in question because of recent efforts by Republican leadership to prevent votes on cannabis amendments. But in a stunning bipartisan move, the House Appropriations Committee voted to add the provision as a rider to legislation funding U.S. Attorney General Jefferson Beauregard Sessions' department for fiscal year 2019. The amendment was offered by Republican Representative David Joyce of Ohio. He said, quote, "I'd be remiss if I did not point out that recent polling from just last month shows 92% of the American people support the use of medical marijuana," end quote, Joyce said in the debate before the committee adopted his amendment by a voice vote. He went on and said, quote, "In fact, even more voters from every political demographic oppose federal interference in state marijuana laws," end quote. Historically, the measure has been approved on the House floor, but because Rules Committee Chairman Pete Sessions, who's a Republican from Texas, has effectively blocked floor votes on cannabis amendments for the last several years, most recently on Wednesday, when his panel prevented 3 hemp measures from advancing, supporters haven't gotten a chance to bring the medical marijuana measure before the full chamber since 2015, when it passed by a margin of 242 to 186. Since then, the provision's been extended, but mostly by default, through large-scale omnibus bills or short-term continuing resolutions that have largely kept federal spending policy riders frozen in place for the last few budget cycles. Now, the projections for state medical marijuana laws and the people and businesses who rely on them are in place to continue through 2019 as well. The rider does not protect broader state laws allowing recreational marijuana businesses and use. But this is great news for the state's rights and those suffering severe pain. By taking the House committee route, led by Joyce, marijuana reform supporters also avoided the measure's long association with Representative Dana Rohrabacher, who has been its chief sponsor for years and who isn't a member of the appropriations panel. The reputation of Rohrabacher is often seen these days as being pro-Russian, and members of Congress say it's been damaged amid the revelations about that country's interference in the 2016 U.S. presidential race. And his re-election this year in a district that Hillary Clinton won is uncertain. Now, because the measure was successfully attached to the 2019 Justice Department bill by Joyce, it's the Ohio congressman's name and not Rohrabacher's that will likely appear at the top of the congressional sign-on letters about it, probably making it more likely that fellow Republican members will seriously consider supporting its extension. For now, advocates are hopeful that Congress is getting the message that supporting medical marijuana reform is good politics. Yesterday's vote shows that protecting state medical marijuana programs from interference by the Department of Justice is no longer a controversial issue when members of Congress are given an opportunity to vote on it. No cannabis opponents demanded a roll call vote on the state protection measure. Opponents clearly want to avoid being on the record voting against sick patients and states' rights, which explains why the committee held a voice vote. Our next story is from Phoenix, Arizona. Republican Governor Doug Ducey has signed legislation into law establishing a pilot program permitting licensed institutions to research the growth, cultivation, and marketing of industrial hemp. Federal provisions of the 2014 Farm Act explicitly authorizes states to engage in state-authorized cultivation of hemp for research purposes. Over 3 dozen states have enacted legislation permitting licensed hemp cultivation in a manner that's compliant with federal law. According to Governor Ducey, he said, quote, "This bill opens Arizona to the possibility of a new agricultural product, and I'm glad to sign a bill that could have a positive impact for the state," end quote. Out of Kansas, another Republican bastion, the Republican Governor Jeff Colyer has signed legislation amending the state's criminal code to explicitly exempt cannabidiol from the definition of marijuana. Passage of the Kansas Senate Bill 282 allows for possession and retail sale of products containing CBD as long as they contain 0% THC. Unlike CBD exemption laws enacted in most other states, Kansas's new law permits all adults, not just those with medical conditions, to possess and purchase CBD products. In April, Indiana enacted similar legislation licensing the retail sale of CBD products to adults. Next story is from Vermont. Vermont officials have publicly announced their intent to vacate past misdemeanor marijuana possession convictions. State lawmakers in Vermont in January enacted legislation permitting adults to possess and grow personal use quantities of cannabis. The new law takes effect on July 1st of this year. According to the officials in their press release, they said in recognition of this change, states' attorneys have agreed to support the expungement of all old misdemeanor marijuana possession offenses, end quote. The expungement process only applies to those with non-felony marijuana offenses there, and it's not applicable for those whose crimes occurred outside of certain counties. The move follows similar actions taken by officials in other states, including here in Oregon, California, and Washington, where city and county prosecutors have moved to automatically expunge past cannabis convictions. From Jerusalem in Israel, the adjunctive use of high CBD oral extracts is associated with improvements in symptom management in children with autism-related behavioral issues, according to data published in the Journal of Neurology. Israeli researchers assessed the use of oral extracts containing a 20-to-1 ratio of CBD to THC in 60 adolescents with autism spectrum disorder. Following treatment, behavioral outbreaks were much improved and very much improved in 61% of the patients. Nearly half of all the patients reported improvement in anxiety and in their communication skills, while 29% reported a decrease in disruptive behaviors. The authors concluded, quote, "The preliminary study supports the feasibility of CBD-based medical cannabis as a promising treatment option for refractory behavioral problems in children with autism spectrum disorder," end quote. The study, Cannabis-Based Medical Cannabis in Children with Autism, a retrospective feasibility study, appears in this month's issue of Neurology. Another story out of Israel. The daily administration of low doses of oral THC is associated with treating various symptoms associated with anorexia nervosa, according to clinical trial data in the Israeli Journal of Psychiatry and Related Sciences. Investigators with Hebrew University in Jerusalem and the Eating Disorders Institute at the University of Haifa assessed the daily use of up to 2 milligrams of oral THC in patients suffering from chronic anorexia. Participants in the open-label trial ingested THC for a period of 3 weeks. The researchers reported significant improvements in participants' self-reported body care, depression, and avoidance of all forms of indulgence. The authors further reported that all but 2 of the 9 patient participants gained weight over the course of the trial. The authors concluded, quote, "The present study is the first to show improvement in the psychological symptoms of patients with anorexia nervosa when treated with delta-9 THC without side effects. These encouraging results on a group of chronic AN patients suggest that low doses of delta-9 THC should be further studied as an adjunct to the treatment of patients with anorexia nervosa." This study, The Impact of Delta-9 THC on the Psychological Symptoms of Anorexia Nervosa, a pilot study, appears in the Israeli Journal of Psychiatry and Related Sciences. Our next story tonight is from Toronto, Canada. Pain patients enrolled in Canada's legal medical cannabis access program significantly reduced their use of opioids over the long term, according to longitudinal data provided by the Tilray Canada Company, one of the nation's largest licensed providers of medicinal marijuana products. Investigators assessed opioid use patterns in the cohort of 573 patients using Tilray-provided products. Among those patients who acknowledged using opioids upon enrollment in the trial, 51% reported ceasing their opiate use within 6 months. The study's authors wrote, quote, "The high rate of cannabis use for treatment of chronic pain and subsequent substitution for opioids suggests that cannabis may play a harm reduction role in the ongoing opioid dependence and overdose crisis," end quote, said Philip Lucas, lead investigator of the Tilray observational patient study. He went on to say, quote, "While the cannabis substitution effect for prescription drugs has been identified and assessed via cross-sectional and population-level research, this study provides a granular, individual-level perspective of cannabis substitution for prescription drugs and associated improvement in the quality of life over time," end quote. The study's findings are similar to those reported among enrollees in cannabis programs in the United States, such as the experiences of patients here in Oregon, Illinois, Michigan, Minnesota, New Mexico, New York, and elsewhere. And that's the end of our Hemp News segment tonight. Now Mr. John Cornett is prepared to play a song. Welcome back, John.
Oh, thank you very much, Paul. It's actually pretty good to be back. I didn't think I was going to make it here tonight.
Yeah, I was afraid you'd hurt your shoulder.
Oh, man. Oh. You know, I'm living proof also about the concept that you can drastically reduce your opioid use. I was on an unthinkable amount. Oftentimes when I say it, people don't want to believe it. I was on 720 milligrams of OxyContin a day. It's amazing that I'm still alive. Now, because I never, ever abused that medication, I can take a little bit for breakthrough pain. Not OxyContin, though, because that stuff is death for me. But anyway, you know, there's all kind of different things that works for you. Music works for you, too, you know. I'm going to do a song that I kind of adapted for the show tonight. I just did it today, so we'll see how it goes. Would be untrue. You know that I would be a liar if I was to say to you. You know it couldn't get much higher. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. I'm gonna set the night on fire. Time for hesitating is through. There's no time to wallow in the fire. Sativa, we could only lose. And this love become a funeral pyre. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. I'm gonna set the night on fire. Well, would be untrue. You know that I would be a liar. Well, if I was to go and tell you this bird couldn't get you much higher. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, set the night on fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Well, come on, baby. What you gotta do? Turn me on. Fire me on. Yeah, come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Yeah, come on, set the night on fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, John. Hey, thank you, Nikki. It's good to have you back. How many times have you been on the show now?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Hey, it's good to see you, Eric. This is like a half dozen or so, something like that, it seems to me.
Well, I think it's been more than that. I think it's been
Maybe
at
it
least
has.
a dozen.
What year was the first year you were here? Do you remember?
Probably 2011.
So you're here tonight to talk about primarily our new benefit that's coming up, the Hemp Aid for Hemp Stock
Absolutely.
event. You want to tell our audience about how that came about?
Basically, I had talked to Paul and Teresa, and some things had come to light. Their direction and some things that were owed back in 2016 from hemp stock down on the waterfront.
Yeah, we still owe the city some money and Rover Security Company
Yes.
and a
And
few other people.
there's been some bills stacked
About
up
$35,000.
on top of you and a few other people, and I felt that I have been so involved in the last 9 years that I just kind of felt that it was a duty of mine to help out and try to rectify some of those costs and bills. I just want to do the right thing, and I want us to have future events on the waterfront if we choose to be at Kelly Point Park or what have you. I think that the only way that cannabis festivals are going to get a break again here in the city of Portland is if we try to rectify what we already owe and fix that, and then hopefully it'll show good faith for the future.
Yeah. So we have an event coming up,
Yes, we do.
and that's out in Clackamas County.
It is.
And tell us about it.
It's hemp aid for hemp stock, and basically we just came up with it because of different entities such as Willie and different ones have come up with different aid benefits, benefiting farmers and different things. So I just kind of thought, well, it was an aid where we're aiding you, where we're aiding this festival, we're aiding the people that have enjoyed it, the families that have enjoyed it, and it's our responsibility to help try to make that come back and come to life. It was one of the only big city events that people could come to and feel like themselves and bring their kids if they wanted to. And it didn't have anything to do with the smoking. It didn't have anything to do with the partaking or anything else. It was just in their realm. They wanted to bring their family and enjoy that type of music, to be around those kind of people and enjoy themselves. And I think it's our duty to bring something like that back again so people can feel comfortable. And I know there is other places doing festivals, Eugene and Salem, and there's other places, but for all of us,
Seattle Hemp Fest.
in Seattle Hemp Fest, but for all of us here in the city of Portland, and me being from here, it just seemed that it was natural to bring something like that back to us. We couldn't just lose it after all those years, and your hard work and a lot of other people's hard work. It just seemed like to have it, go up and smoke wasn't really what should happen.
Yeah.
You know, and it's something that's very needed. The education part of it's needed. Those speakers, Eric, you, myself, we tend to be on those stages at different times and try to talk about something that touches somebody else or brings light or education to someone else. That's something that they may not have known or weren't sure about. A lot of times they get those answers or those questions answered.
So the event is scheduled for when?
It is June 30th and July 1st. It's a Saturday and Sunday.
I see. Just about 5 or 6 weeks out right now.
It's about 5-6 weeks out.
And where's it at?
In Clackamas County, on on Fisher Mill Road.
So there's a piece of property there that's in excess of 100 acres.
There's a wonderful piece of property there, and a fantastic lady named Kim is the owner of this property, and she's become a good friend and a lady that wants to see better for people and the better good of people. And when this was brought to her and kind of sat in her lap, and we said, hey, we don't have anywhere else that's large enough to be able to put on something of this magnitude for this kind of benefit.
There's also a couple of little hemp patches out there, right? They're licensed industrial hemp.
They are being groomed for hemp right now. It's on a 5-year process. So they're turning over the soil, so to speak, and treating it or untreating it, I guess you could say, making sure there's no chemicals in it, making sure they do the measurements and the chemical measurements on it, and they're saying in 5 years that will be a hemp farm.
Oh, okay. So there's not going to be hemp there this year.
Not this year, but there's hay there right now, I believe, in those spots. But it's very groomed for it to be hemp in the future. So he's very particular about it, the gentleman that she's given this part of the property to.
So if somebody, and so there'll be free parking and no entrance fee, right?
Free parking, and we can park somewhere around 800 cars, we're believing. We have 3 different parking lots, so that's a good amount of cars to be able to park.
There's a recent poster, I guess, our friend Pony Boy got stuck at the bottom. I know he's not happy about that.
I am so sorry about that.
Yeah.
I'm looking. I see him on there.
Oh, yeah, there.
Yep, I see it.
Not complete bottom, but.
No, not the complete bottom, but maybe we can do something about that. That's really...
Well, there it is. And so for more information, we have a Facebook page, don't we?
We do. We have a Facebook page, Hemp Aid for Hemp Stock. Every bit of everything is going to pay these bills. Everything, every popcorn you buy, everything that's out there is going, or some percent of it is going to try to rectify these bills that Paul's been having to deal with.
So, Eric, do you want to say anything about it?
I would actually like to hop in real quick. Not only is this lady, Kim, nice enough to voluntarily loan us her grounds, but she's also allowing us to do a wood drive this coming Saturday. Where tomorrow, yes, where she has cords and cords of wood that she's willing to give away for free.
Absolutely.
She just wants. She says if people want to just come and get it, she's willing to help warm your houses for this winter. So here in a moment, I'll get that address for us. But if you want to, unless Nikki has it on hand,
I've got it.
We're looking
It's on
for
Fisher Mill Road.
Basically, come out. You don't have to sign no papers, show where you live. You just want to warm your house for the winter. We bring your truck. We'll fill it up for you. We are, of course, looking for.
So what time is this tomorrow?
We're starting at 10 a.m. and until 2 p.m.
And it's at 19670 Southeast Fisher Mill Road.
That's the exact spot.
19670 Fisher Mill Road.
Yes.
We are also
Oregon City,
not
or outside Oregon City.
Always needing help, but we're looking for those volunteers. If you have a chainsaw, if you know how to cut wood, if you know how to help load a vehicle for somebody that might be disabled that can't load it for themselves, please come on out. We need all the help we can get.
We absolutely do.
This lady is nice enough to offer all this wood. We could probably at least warm a good 30 to maybe 40 houses with this wood for the winter. Mm-hmm. Come on out, help us out. It's for a great cause. I even heard there might be some pulled pork sandwiches around the 12:30 hour. So come on out and help, and we'll get some food in your belly.
So we are taking your phone calls tonight. If you have a question for any of us, you can call us at that number there on your screen, 503-288-4442. That's 503-288-4442. And we'll be taking your calls right up to the top of the hour. Do we have a video ready to roll here? Judy, you want to come up and ask a question? Well, we've got a question in a studio audience, and then we'll run our video here in just a moment. So go ahead, Judy.
I want to hear more about our hemp stock, hemp aid. I'm so appreciative and so excited. I want to know more detail. And people, it's such a wonderful family event. I mean, before Waterfront Park and God bless them, the city of Portland and the Portland Police Bureau turning our event into a I don't even know what to say about what they did to us in stripping it. It was such a wonderful, happy.
The police for many years, I would say 20 years, did everything in their power to stop any event that we might want to have.
Yeah.
I remember back in about 1997, they actually did a counter event to our event and put up helicopters, speedboats, and everything, and circled us. And they've done everything they can to try to stop us. They turned down our permit process, and we had to go to the city council and the mayor to be able to do it, and increased our costs. They doubled. The police doubled our costs with unnecessary security burdens.
And the policing, I mean, I was there. I was there working too as volunteer.
It was intense and intrusive guard,
it was
and they were directed by the police to do that.
It was unbelievable. But the reality is, this is always the happiest, friendliest family event, singles event. Whatever, is music and joy and in a wonderful outdoor setting, and I'm so appreciative for this person. And I would like to just remind people that don't get hung up on Paul's bills get mentioned in here, only because he is the person, he and his wife and the group take responsibility for and stepping up to the plate for doing this all these years. They're not Paul's bills. These are our bills for having hemp stock, for trying to work for freedom and truth and knowledge. So, just come on out, for gosh sakes, come.
All right, so we have a phone call coming in here. Let's take that phone call. Welcome to the show, caller.
They hung up.
Oh, okay, well, so much for that. Well, we have a video ready to roll, so we'll be back right after this video. Stay tuned. Tune in.
Henry Ford's first Model T was built to run on hemp gasoline, and the car itself was constructed from hemp. On his large estate, Ford was photographed among his hemp fields. The car, grown from the soil, had hemp plastic panels whose impact strength was 10 times stronger than steel. Henry Ford ran 40,000 vehicles on hemp fuel from only 10,000 acres. The emissions are what you exhale, and the next year's crop reconverts it back into oxygen. That's a natural cycle fuel. We think that our ethanol and biofuels and flex fuel systems are all the cutting edge, but biofuel development, of course, is nothing new. Way back in the 1930s, Henry Ford was hard at work in the alternative fuel sector, and in 1941 he constructed a hemp-fueled and hemp-bodied prototype car. The plastic body panels were composed of 70% cellulose fibers, including industrial strength, mixed with a resin binder, and apparently they were pretty sturdy. A guy beats on the trunk with an axe and it fails to leave a mark. Industrial hemp won't make you high. It has no THC in it, but its association with marijuana has historically been a major legal stumbling block. There's some of you that think I'm full of shit, but the actual footage of 1941 should be proof enough for you.
Amongst the thousands of products made from hemp, one of the most extraordinary is Henry Ford's plastic car. Built in 1941, it contained cellulose fibers derived from hemp, sisal, and wheat straw. The plastic was lighter than steel, yet could withstand 10 times the impact without denting.
Hemp is an alternative to petroleum. Hemp grows like mad from border to border in America, so shortages are very unlikely. And unlike petroleum, unless we run out of soil, hemp is renewable. Growing and harvesting the stuff has much less environmental impact than procuring oil. Hemp fuel is biodegradable, so oil spills become fertilizer and no eco-catastrophes. Hemp fuel does not contribute to sulfur dioxide air poisoning. Other noxious emissions like carbon monoxide and hydrocarbons are radically slashed by using biodiesel. Hemp fuel is non-toxic and only a mild skin irritant. Anybody who's ever cleaned out an old carburetor with gasoline can confirm the same is not true for petroleum. Growing hemp for fuel would be tremendous boom for American farmers in the agricultural industry, as opposed to what people like Bush have to say about it. And that's why hemp might not go anywhere as a fuel alternative. Oil interests are big and dominate likewise into politics. Selling any man on the idea that will cost him more than he'll benefit requires an amazingly skilled orator or a gun. Unfortunately, unless you're the federal government, gunpoint conversions are usually illegal. So PR is the best bet now. There are many people working hard on this front, including the Hemp Car and the Intrepid crew. Currently grinding up for the Trans-American Tour, the Hemp Car plans to spread the good word of hemp fuel viability at stops in both the US and Canada. For whatever good it will do, they should make sure to stop in Washington. The current oil crisis of our nation's dependency and sometimes pretty sickening foreign sources might find a new chief executive with an open mind to fuel sources other than Texas tea, regardless of his own oilty bank accounts. Of course, hemp fuel may not take off. It might dry up like those hemp crops left unattended after the feds banned their cultivation in the 1930s. One way or the other, we should consider freeing up the market to innovative solutions with alternative fuels like hemp seed oil. It couldn't hurt, and it stands the chance to help. In doing so, when Henry Ford told the New York Times reporter that ethanol alcohol was the fuel of the future in 1925, he was expressing an opinion that was widely shared in the automotive industry. The fuel of the future is going to come from the fruit that shumach out of the road, or from apples, weeds, sawdust, almost anything, he said. There is fuel in every bit of vegetable matter that can be fermented. There's enough alcohol in 1 year's yield of an acre of potatoes to drive the machinery necessary to cultivate the fields for hundreds of years. Ford recognized the utility of the hemp plant. He constructed a car of resin-stiffened hemp fiber and ran the car on ethanol-made hemp. Ford knew the hemp could produce vast economic resources if widely cultivated. Ford's optimistic appraisal of cellulose and crop-based ethanol alcohol fuel can be read in several ways. First, it can be seen as an oblique jab at a competitor, General Motors, had come to considerable grief that summer of 1925 over another octane-boosting fuel called tetraethanol lead, and the government official had been quietly in touch with Ford engineers about alternatives to leaded gasoline additives. Secondly, by 1925, the American farms that Ford loved were facing an economic crisis that would later intensify with the Depression. Although the cause of the crisis were complex, one possible solution was seen in creating new markets for farm products. With Ford's financial and political backing, the idea of opening up industrial markets for farmers would be translated into a broad movement for scientific research in agriculture that would be labeled farm chemistry. While Henry's plans were delayed for the more than half a century, ethanol has been known as a fuel for many decades. Indeed, when Henry's Ford designed the Model T, it was his expectation that ethanol made from renewable biological materials, which would be a major automobile fuel. However, gasoline emerged as the dominant transportation fuel in the early 20th century because of the ease of operation of gasoline engines, with the materials then available for engine construction, and growing supply of cheaper petroleum from oil fields discoveries, and intense lobbying by petroleum companies for the federal government to maintain steep alcohol taxes. Many bills proposing a national energy program that made use of America's vast agricultural resources for fuel production were killed by a smear campaign launched by vested petroleum interests. One noteworthy claim put forth by petroleum companies was that of the U.S. government plans rob taxpayers to make farmers rich.
Okay. So visually, that might have had a little bit to be desired. We got to watch that guy crank that engine replay a few times there. But the information was good. You know, we have our hemp flame here. This is hemp oil with a hemp wick and a little hemp flame and some hempcrete. This is the stems of the marijuana plant made into a concrete replacement. So we call it our hemp flame of freedom. We've been showing it here for many years, as our longtime viewers know. So we've got Busy Bee coming. Who all do we have currently booked for?
Currently booked
Amazing
right
lineup.
now. We've got Real One.
Yes.
Local favorite, Bad Habitat.
Off the charts. Amazing.
Another great local group, Get Down Jones, and that's Barney. We've got Young Gates. We've got John Cornett and friends, whoever he'd like to bring along with him. And you heard John earlier, so.
And we'll be hearing him again here in
Yeah, I'm
another
excited
15
about
minutes
that.
or so.
And we've got, let me get this correct. We've got Tim Me, and he's going to be performing. And we also got Vicky Loveless. We've got Boomer, Sean Allen Boomer, comedian, and Radical Russ will be emceeing the event for us. We've got a couple more comedians. We've got Rissa Riss coming to perform. She's going to do a bit. We've got Mean Green that's going to come back, and he was here many years ago for Hempstock and used to be an ongoing performer for us, and took himself from Cali down to Atlanta for a while, and now he's back, and he says he's coming, so he is confirmed to perform, so that's pretty awesome. I just love him. We have a group called Cat Scan, Hard Belly Wheeze, Kiss, Black Bear. We've got a gentleman, Too Easy, that will be performing, and I'm super excited about that. It's looking like it's going to be a lot of fun and educational at the same time, but I think it's something that we need for our sociability, for our community, as we call it. I'm really excited because Friday we're going to actually have a chance to sell some dinner tickets on Friday night for a Friday night dance and social, and we'll be
So that'll be on the 29th.
The 29th.
Okay.
And that'll kind of kick it off. We're going to have some different tables of some different goodies and different things going on. People will be showing their wares to the people that are there. They'll be cooking. We're hoping to have quite a bit of fish for that night. We have some DJs that actually are wedding DJs, and they do weddings and bar mitzvahs and all that good stuff. So we're going to have them as the dance, and that's the reason we wanted to do a social and dance, because a lot of people want to dance, but they need certain songs to dance to. Well, this will give them the chance to request what they want.
Okay.
So it should be a really good time, and that's kind of the kickoff, and then we'll go into Saturday. But I'm really looking forward to this.
I just got word. We got Real One on the phone.
Oh, we do?
Yay!
Okay, well, hello, Real One.
Hi, Brandon.
What's happening, everybody?
Hi.
How are you?
Doing good, doing good. How you guys doing?
Pretty well. So are you down in California?
Yeah, we're in California at the Friday night session we have out here.
Uh-huh. Well, we got the poster that you put together here just this past week to start getting the word out on it. It's looking pretty good. Is that the bridge there in Sacramento?
What's the bridge of?
Modesto.
That's the Modesto Bridge. I thought
Nice.
it might be that golden bridge there in Sacramento, but there I go guessing again.
There you go guessing again. Well, we're looking forward to
the bridge. That's the left in Portland where you guys are at.
Is that the Portland Bridge?
Yeah.
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 Okay. Okay.
Yes. And I want to say something to you while I got you on the line with us, Real. I want to say thank you so much for reaching out and being one of the first people that said whatever you need, I'll be there.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. I appreciate it too.
The man's not charging us anything. He's helping us. So I just want to say thank you to you for that, and I just really appreciate it.
Not only.
Oh, you're welcome and shit. It's the least I can do.
Not only is he coming down, I heard, but I heard he's got a bus full of people he's bringing too. He's got some vendors, he's got some performers. I hear he's going to be rocking it for us.
I heard that too.
So you just did the big New York City Cannabis March here on the 6th of this month, didn't you, Real?
Yeah. I think it was the 5th or what. I think it was the 5th, but yeah, we did it out there in New York. It was awesome out there. It's pretty cool thing, It's kind of like what we've been doing out here for a while. They're kind of pushing the same thing out there on the East Coast,
I went back there and spoke, I think it was in 2014. And so it was a lot of fun then, too, right there in Union Square.
Cool. Did you get to hang out
They
with
don't really mess with anybody.
No,
the
he
cops
wasn't
kind of let
there.
it be
That
for
was
the day.
2014
But
he went there. Huh?
I was just saying, they let it, for the day, they basically don't mess with anybody, They let everybody smoke at the park, and, they give them a certain time limit, and then, when the time's up, the park clears out, and, as long as everybody respects the rules, there's no issues. It's pretty cool.
That's how it needs to be.
It's good.
I love that.
Well, we want to thank you for doing that. We look forward to seeing you here in about a month, and thanks for calling in tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I can't wait to get back out there.
We have the Busy Bee video that features you and some other folks, this Smoke On anthem that Busy Bee's been pushing. So you want to tell our audience?
We just did together, me, Busy Bee, and Lord Digga. And the Smoke On video's on YouTube. It's on my channel and a couple other channels.
You want to tell our audience who, Busy Bee's like the original rapper, right?
He's the first solo MC is what he is. So
yeah. Going back to the 70s.
That's pretty original as you can get, but yeah, he's definitely one of the pioneers.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, we're going to run that video now that you're in. Thanks for calling in, bro.
Good hearing from you, brother.
Thank you, Real.
All right.
See you guys.
Good night. So I think we have that video ready to go, and we'll be back right after this hip-hop video.
Yeah, that we good. Yeah, that marijuana good enough. This song is dedicated to all the marijuana smokers and stoners around the world. To the marijuana growers, to the medical patients, the cancer patients, the stoners, the weed growers, the blunt smokers, the joint rollers. It's your boy, the Chief Rocker, Busy Bee. Hey y'all, smoke good, light up. Yeah, yes. All around the world, everything's for that good. The challenge what up. Up in Cali, where the people was fresh smoking, line that weed and that good old process. The DJ was playing my favorite set, and the ladies in the place was looking real fresh. The MCs couldn't wait till the party was hyped, because they all wanted to see the Busy rock the mic. From the west to the east, it was all the same. The white boys backwoods, it's all in the game. Light up, y'all. You got that Wiz Khalifa, that KK, yeah, I want some of that. Yeah, I know about where's that Wiz Khalifa? Sure enough, shout out. Yeah. The Blazers Cup. The Emerald Cup, yeah, I like the Emerald Cup too. Come on. Hip hop, it was all in the parks. We used to smoke all day to dark. We used to smoke it like Willie or Cheek and Chong, and taking dab hits and smoking out the bong. And everybody wanna know what it done to me. I was high, smoked out, and had the munchies. And I'm smoked out, puffed out, don't want no more. And every time you see me, I'm at the goddamn store for backwoods to smoke. Yeah, I'm trying to smoke now, baby. I ain't playing. I'm trying to get high up here today, baby. Yeah, I ain't playing. I'm trying to get high. Y'all know Busy B, y'all know what I do. Here go my man Real One, don't we smoke together? Yo, Real One, break it down one time. Show 'em how we get down.
Wake up, roll something, get my smoke on. All I do is smoke weed all day long. Hits from the bong, do it coast to coast. Smoke it all the way down to the last roach. Real smokers, professional growers. Farming for real shit, we ain't no posers. We send packs, we move boxes. Pushing this weight like a herd of oxes. Big Chief in with the Chief Rocker. Wherever we at, you know the session about to pop up. Fuck a prop, brother, doing this since day one. When it's federally legal, that's when we won. Get your smoke on, everybody light up. Elevate your mind,
So everybody fired up.
Get your smoke on, put it in the air.
Chief Rocker, Busy B, and Real's everywhere. So light up, y'all. Hey, smoking good in the hood. Keep smoking.
Some of that shit over here, man.
It's Busy B, y'all know how I get down.
Ain't no later.
Yeah, that's how I get down. Well, we still rolling up, man. We trying to get it together, man. It's 420. We gotta get it on time.
I got something on it.
New York.
It's the HIGHGUY. Has there ever been a time you haven't seen me high above the clouds and sky? I steam big L's like my guy from the sty. Too much concentrates, I can't concentrate. Wake and bake with 4 zones of shake, straight to the face. In a room 112, that's a quarter plate. To a professor with a PhD in POT. So you already know. Highest man alive. Rockin' with the Chief Rocker.
Busy B.
Literally.
Vegas, Nevada. Happy 420. Smoking good.
Light up.
Providence, Rhode Island.
We smoke
Smoking
up.
good. Yes. Once again, I dedicate this song to the marijuana smokers, the stoners, the cancer patients. Oregon. Yes, all around the world. The pot growers, the loose joint smokers, the blunt rollers, the rig blowers. Keep smoking good, y'all. Keep smoking.
All right. Well, there's Busy B with Real One, and who was the other guy? Rock something. I don't know. I'll learn. But we want to thank them for letting us use their video there. It's a pretty good one. I know Busy B actually came up with the term hip hop. He is the originator of that term hip hop back in the 70s. And his song "Making Cash Money," I think he teamed up with or got covered with by Kid Rock and Bob Wat Dibba or something like that. But anyway, I can't say it right. So anyway, we'll have them out there, and you can find out more by looking. It's not a web page, but it's a Facebook page, right?
Yeah, it's a Facebook page.
So it's Hemp Aid for Hemp Stock. Just look up, go to Facebook, search for Hemp Aid for Hemp Stock, and you'll see more.
I am also looking for volunteers for this event. So you can check out my Facebook page, Eric Llewellyn. Let me know if you want to get volunteering in the cannabis community events. We got a 420 games coming up where we all like to get together and do a 4.2 mile hike. And then we're going to be doing some summer cleanup programs. So get a hold of me if you want to volunteer.
Next week, we will have Sharon Whitson, one of the core staff members of the Seattle Hemp Fest, here, along with Sean Carter, who is one of the people who organizes the Oregon Hemp Fest, which takes place pretty soon here. It's on June 15th, 16th, and 17th. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, June 15th, 16th, and 17th, down near Roseburg, outside the city of Oakland. Just look up Horrigan Hemp Fest, or you can find out more at hempfest.org, hempfest.org. So they'll be our guests here next week, we're happy to say. And we'll be coming back. So what else do you want to say, Nikki? I'll put you on the spot.
What else do I want to say? I want to say that this specifically is an event, you guys, for everyone out there. If you don't get along with Joe Blow or Susie Q or whoever you don't get along with, that's not what this event is about. It's bigger than any of us personally. And I think that it's something that really needs to have support in all types of ways. So I hope you all come out and support this event. I think it's going to be a beautiful day, beautiful weekend, and come see what's happening. Bonnie King is going to be there for the weekend. She's going to speak, and she's going to do some pictures and some write-up on it and some different things. We have some great speakers. John Lucy, attorney, he's going to be speaking.
And we're still getting some spots in there.
We have some spots, so if you want to speak
still
or
kind of coming together right now.
perform, please
It's kind of
hit me
short
up.
order. I mean,
Hit Paul up, hit Teresa up, hit us up, and let us know.
if you want to contact us, you can call us at 503-235-4606. It's 503-235-4606. In fact, also, if at that number there, if you're looking for a doctor who can help you with medical marijuana recommendation, we have a referral service, and you can call us at that same number, 503-235-4606. Just leave a message and somebody will call you back come Monday, most likely. Again, that's 503-235-4606. So, Eric, you want to say anything in closing here?
I'm going to close out with my normal 1-2. Get the opioids out of your system. Talk to your doctors about cannabis. Had a really close touch to home this week. Recreational or prescriptional, opioids can hurt your family, so stay off them. Just basically that's what it is.
We're happy to see. I've seen thousands of patients quit opioids, or like John or many others, dramatically reduce their use of opioids by using cannabis, and it dramatically improves their life. They go from drooling couch potatoes to productive members of society who enjoy life. So what about you, Nikki? You want to say anything in closing?
I want to say do something for someone else without them asking you to do it. It's good for your soul.
And that's how you came forward to put this thing together, and we appreciate it. John, you're going to go out on another great song of yours?
I'm going to go on what I know here, and you can call it
Okay.
great, or you can call it just another song.
All right. We will be back next week with Sharon Whitson from Seattle Hemp Fest and Sean Carter from the Oregon Hemp Fest. Tune in there and help us restore hemp.
Like that.
Some folks like tomatoes, some like rhubarb pie. I like when my vegetables get me a little high. May not be for everyone, may not fit your needs, but this incredible edible vegetable, more than just a weed. Incredible. That's right. Vegetable. Yeah, edible, incredible. Edible. Ooh, vegetable. Yeah. Some folks like tomatoes, some like rhubarb pie. I like when my vegetables get me a little high. May not be for everyone,